Hey everyone, it's Kai from Cool Collectibles back again for another video. As you can see here, I have the original Asmus Aragorn deluxe figure that I got a while back, but recently I did pick up the new rooted hair upgrade set that they sent out. It did take a while for it to come, and I didn't get a shipping notice or anything like that, and it just arrived in the mail maybe a week or so ago, but I've just been a bit too busy in doing work and family stuff. But I finally do have a bit of time today, so I'll quickly go through the head sculpt with you. But with the figure itself, I don't like moving it around too much. It's got a whole bunch of accessories and so on that are a bit fiddly to get all set up on the figure. But I have taken everything off of it, and it was a bit of a pain in the ass to get the head off, to be honest. But I'll just reset up and just focus on the head sculpts for now, so I'll be back in a second. Alright, so here are the two head sculpts up close. Hopefully the lighting's not too bad and you do get a decent look at the two sculpts. Now out of the box, this new rooted hair version does have a lot of product in the hair, and I've tried to brush out a little bit of it. The ends here do get a little bit bushy, but with a bit of water treatment you can get that a bit under control. But the top part of it is I guess the worst, you could say, in that it's very flat, and it does take a bit of work to get it a little bit looser. It's funny how the original sculpt, a lot of people, including myself, complained about the top of the hair here being a bit cone shaped to give him that cone headed look, and yet when they do the rooted hair version, it was like I pretty much wanted a bit more volume up here because it was just almost a bit too flat. But you do look at screenshots and so on, and it doesn't look too inaccurate. But it does take a bit of work to get it a bit loose. And what I had to do was I used one of my kids' little water spray bottles, and I just sprayed it on there like that. And I used a Chewbacca's, Hot Toys Chewbacca's comb here, and you sort of just try and, what I tried to do anyway, is to try and lift it away from there. And I did use a bit of a brush to try and brush some of that gel off of it. And what I did like to do, just going by movie screenshots, was to have try and get some of these strands to sort of go over his face. It adds that bit of realism that I think is a bit missing from this sculpt. I think the original sculpt, it almost has almost the regal look from Return of the King, as opposed to the more rugged sort of ranger look from the Fellowship of the Ring, which I prefer. But for the sculpt itself, going by some of the photos on the Facebook groups and so on, I actually thought the sculpts were different, but in hand I think the face itself is pretty much the same. And I think any differences in the face are due to slight differences in the paint application. So I think if I can zoom in a little bit closer, if you have a look, I think the paint application of the new rooted hair version is definitely better, at least on mine. There's a bit more freckling in the skin that gives it a bit more realism. The beard on the original here, I think has a bit more brown in the chin and so on, which I don't know, they might have gone a bit too bold on this version. But overall, the beard and the moustache aren't too bad. The eyebrows as well are slightly different in their paint application and the way they're angled. But I think the biggest improvement on the new one are in the eyes. I'm not sure if you can really pick it up because probably need a macro lens of some sort. But the decal I think that they've used on the eyes definitely has improved detail in the pupils and the iris and so on. So you can actually see the I don't know what the medical term is, but around the pupils and so on, you can see that additional detail in the eyes, and the glassiness is just that tad bit more detailed. So overall, I am pretty happy with the way they've done it, and I guess the sculpted detailing isn't too bad. But oh, I'm going with the sculpted detail. I guess the top of the head here, if you can just make it out, it's got that little bit of sculpting and paint application for just that hairline, which is missing on this rooted hair version. So if you know, this center seam here, you sort of have to tweak the hair to try and cover that gap a little bit. If they had just some of that sculpting and paint application just on that hairline, might have made it a bit more seamless, like they did right in that gap in there. But other than that, I think if you tweak around with the hair and just get that sort of fuzziness out of it, and maybe try and separate some of the product to get that hair sort of covering his face a little bit, I think the likeness definitely comes through a little bit more. It's a bit hard to get them separated, those strands, but once you do, I think the likeness is there. So the other thing to note, they did make 2 batches of these. The first batch they forgot to put the neck peg in, and so I think they were sending out neck pegs to people who got the first batch. I was lucky enough to get the second batch on the first go, and the neck peg was actually loose, so it does take a bit of work to get it in there, but overall I think it's aligned with the original one, so it shouldn't be too difficult to get it back onto the body. But I'll try and futz around with the hair a little bit more. I'm not sure if I'll trim any off or anything like that, but if I can leave it sort of like that and not make him look too caveman-like, I'll probably be happy enough with him on display like that. So they do have the Merry and Pippin upgrade sets coming soon, and also I think they just teased the Frodo and Sam sculpt. So I think overall they are a bit of an improvement, particularly Frodo. So I'll definitely be picking those up as well. Alright, so that's pretty much it for this quick look at the new Aragorn head sculpt by Asmus Toys. Overall, it's not too bad, and for those futzers out there who can do a much better job than me, I think they can make it look pretty damn awesome. Hopefully you can click that like and subscribe button, and stay tuned for the upcoming looks at the Hobbit head sculpt upgrade sets as well that I'll be getting in soon, hopefully. They did tease a latest video of the Boromir figure, and overall it does look pretty good too, so I'm definitely looking forward to almost completing the Fellowship with Gimli coming up probably in 2018 now, I think. So I'm definitely glad that Asmus has committed to finishing off the Fellowship. And if they're of this quality, I think I'll be happy enough with them in the display. So hopefully you can stick around for all those upcoming reviews, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Cheers.